Okay, hello everyone. Today I'm going to perform my midterm project about the introduction to CS, and my theme is find the quadrant. Okay, so the outline we can separate it into 5 steps, which is the first one is to introduce the question, and the second is the initial skills that you need in Python to solve the question, and the third part is to practice it in a Jupyter notebook. Yeah, and the number 4 is to use the code to solve the question, and I'll show you the result in the end. Okay, so the question is about the engineering graphics. So in the field of civil engineering, it is necessary to know the relation of an object and a position it is in a space. Thus, we may use some coordinate system to define it. Yes, and in engineering graphics, we learn in the freshman. Yeah, we have a coordinate system that combines the distance with vertical plane. This is the vertical plane, and horizontal plane. Yes. And so it becomes this, but this is not important for this question. So what's important is this one. We can know the quadrant of a point by observing the sign of the y and the z, and it can be simply gained by using Python. Yeah, and if a point A, its coordinate is at x, y, and z, so it is in the first quadrant if the y and z is all positive, and it is in second quadrant if the y is positive and z is negative, and it's in third quadrant if the y and z is both negative, and it is fourth quadrant if y is negative and z is positive, and if y and z is both 0, it's on the GL, and if y is not 0 and z is 0, it's on the VP, and if y is 0, z is not 0, it is on the HP, the horizontal plane. Okay, so what about x? We only deal with the x only, x is in positive, so we only have 4th quadrant. Or if we want to deal with x, it will become 8th quadrant, which is the same with using Python, but the code will be like 2 times longer, so let's just ignore the x. Okay. So the question is like this. We have to determine their quadrants. Like here is our 10 points, and with their coordinate, and we have to input it into our Python in our codes, and it can calculate, not calculate, it can just do the decision. Like, yeah, it can tell us what quadrant or the plane it is. Okay, so that's initial skills. Yes, for this quadrant we only have very basic skills demand. Yes, so it's only input. Yeah, you have to type the coordinate for it, and you have to print the result out like oh, this point is in first quadrant, like that. And the important is to use the if, else, and else if. Yes, you have to use this to some logical things. Yeah, and it can help you know if it's under some condition or not, and like it's positive or not, it's negative or not, and it's 0 or not, and it can help you to know what quadrant are the point is. Okay, so this one is the flow chart of the yes, so I made this flow chart, so the process will be very clear. Yeah, and so I can write my code, programming, yes, with this flow chart, because I can know like what decision I have to make, and what I'm going to do the next step. So we will write the code and show this flowchart at the same time, so I will explain the whole flowchart later on. Okay, so the first step is to input the XYZ, And in this condition, I use the string, yes, and split by the space. So I can just type x space y space and z and into it, and it can get the x and y and z in the integers. Yes. So yeah, and it can just know that what numbers are there. Yes. So after input the numbers, the first part of logical condition, yes, like to so yeah, after input this xyz, and the Python know the xyz, and the first step is to know, like I have to know if it is the condition that y equals to 0 and z equals to 0. Yeah, that both are 0, and it means if yes, it's on GL. So if yes, on GL, and if no, else. Like yeah, we get into another decision. So we have to use else if, not if, because we first else and we have another if. So we have to use else if. And if this fits the condition, like y equals to 0, and it means it's on the HP, yes. And because the z, if the y is 0 and the z is 0, it is on GL. So if the y is 0, if the condition is going here, the z is definitely not 0 if it is on HP, yes. Okay, so if the y doesn't equals to 0, then if else and into another decision, so we have to use else if again. So if z equals to 0, if yes, it's on VP, and if no, we can go to the second part. So if this yes, what does that mean? That means y equals to 0 and z equals to 0 is false. So they are not both 0, and y equals to 0 is no. So y is not 0, but we don't know if z is 0. But if z is 0, that means on VP is y is not equals to 0 and z is equals to 0. So yes, we can get this condition, and we can just simply set our answer to this string, yes, which tells you the answer. Okay, so if z doesn't equals to 0, and after the first part, we can know that both either y or z is not 0. Yeah, none of them are 0. Okay, so after this decision, we have no, so we have to use else, but else and into another decision, so else if. Okay, if y is larger than 0, if yes, we have to do another decision. So how can we do that in Python? We just tab, yes. So this if have to be inside the else if, because if this condition is yes, like yeah, it's yes, another decision. So if is in the else if. So it's if y is larger than 0 and z is larger than 0, it is in first quadrant. Yeah, so we can set the answer in the first quadrant. And else, so we have to notice that this else is under the condition of y larger than 0. So this still have to use the tab in under this else if. Okay, so this condition means the y is larger than 0 and z is not larger than 0. But what if z is equals to 0? We don't have to worry about that, because z equals to 0 will be done by this process. So if it comes here, it is definitely not 0. So if it's in second quadrant, it means y is larger than 0 and z is smaller than 0. Okay, so back to this decision. If y bigger than 0 is not true, it do not do this process, right? So it just get out. And get out here, we have another decision. So we still have to use else if. So if z is bigger than 0, is larger than 0, if yes, it is in the fourth quadrant, because yeah, like the y is smaller than 0 and it is not 0, right? So the y is smaller than 0 and z is bigger than 0 is 4q. Yes. Okay, so if no, it's just 3q, so we can just use else because we don't have the decisions here. So after this else if, the else is 3q. Okay, so after all this decision and condition, we just can determine the every cases of the quadrant they're in. Okay, so the final step is to print the result. Okay, so we can print the result that the point you type in xyz is the answer. Okay, so the answer is, it may be like in 4q in 2q, like something like that. And so we can back to solve our question by using this code. Like we have 10 points here, and for a point it is in the xyz is 1, 2, 4, and it tells me that it is in 1q. And this is I typed this in, and it tells me what quadrant or the plane they are in, so that you can see that the 0, 5, the y is 0 and z is 5, so this is on HP. Okay, so this is all correct, perhaps. Okay, so and like this, the 4, 0 is on the vertical plane, and 2, -5 is in the second quadrant, and -3, 0 is on the vertical plane, and 0, 0 is on the GL. And this is 0, -4 is on the horizontal plane, and this is also all correct in my opinion. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation, and I think if you have to do a lot of like logical decisions, it's very recommended to use a flow chart, though it may take you a lot of time making this, but you can clearly understand the situation by the process of making this out, and you can just looking at it while coding, and the mistake will be very less. Yes. Okay, so thank you for attention, and this is my reference.